Hi everyone, my name is Diane Haleas, and I have had the distinct joy, pleasure, and great honor and privilege to be the director of the St. Ignatius Model United Nations team for 25 years, celebrating my 25th anniversary this year, and it's been an exceptional year, as have the previous 24 years. There are a few questions that I am going to answer, so I'll say the question and then I will give my best answer. So the first question is, who or what inspired you to start the SIMUN team 25 years ago, and what has been the driving force behind its success? The origin story is really great. It goes back to 1999 when a couple of my students had taken a program at Georgetown University in the summer on international relations, and they came back and told me that they were the only two students that did not participate in something called Model United Nations, and asked me if I knew anything about it. I said no, but let's find out. And so we did, and from that point forward, we got in touch with some other schools in the Chicago area that did participate in Model United Nations, and we attended our very first conference at Stevenson High School, and we brought 7 delegates, and I think we actually won 2 awards. So it was very inspiring, and that kind of got the ball rolling. Success, so many reasons, so many people. It goes back to the students, right? The students who started it and all the students who came after them, who wanted to learn more, who wanted more experiences, new experiences, wanted to discover new friendships, wanted to learn about new issues, and wanted to challenge themselves. And so that's kind of what ended up happening, that it just became this ongoing evolution with students from one year inspiring younger students, and then it just started to get bigger and bigger with more and more students interested. So the more students that got interested, the more events that we started to participate in, attending more conferences, even starting our own conference. So getting into the second question, right, how has the club evolved over the past 25 years, and what changes have I seen in its growth? And as I said, just getting bigger all the time. I had a few students early on, probably class of 01, 02, who really wanted to take it to the next level. And so they started a conference, right, SIMUN, which was really great. And then from there, we started learning from other schools, right? We didn't win a lot in those early years, but we did learn a lot, right? We learned so much by participating. And the more we learned, the more we wanted to do well. And so that became a goal, right? To be the best delegates that we could be, and also to present St. Ignatius as a school of very talented, committed, global citizens. And I especially want to shout out the class of 2008, people like Greg Young and Nikki Kewins and Toby Ojo, who were just so important to building up the team and becoming great delegates and inspiring from there. You know, I remember one year taking 125 students to the Chicago International Model UN Conference, and it was fantastic. I remember the first year we won a Best Delegation Award. I think that was in 2005. And then from there we just started winning, but not all the time. Obviously a lot of individual awards, but after a while it didn't become just about the awards, right? It became more about the experiences, the team, building up something that you can be proud of and that you can leave to younger students to develop their skills and to have these wonderful experiences of teamwork and friendship and broadening of their horizons. So this kind of segues into the next question, which is, how has SIMUN contributed to students' personal growth and development over these 25 years, and what do I hope the legacy will be? That's a big question. Certainly, the growth has been exponential, that so many SIMUN alums have come back or have contacted me to say, wow, my experiences with the SIMUN team were the most formative experiences of my high school career. Learning how to communicate effectively in small groups, in medium-sized groups, in very large groups. Model United Nations committees can range from 10 people around a small table to 350 people serving as double delegations in a big United Nations General Assembly committee. So think about the skills involved there and the preparation. And so it really builds discipline in students, gets them to learn better research skills, writing skills, but really the communication skills. How to talk to other people in a diplomatic way, how to present your points, your solution ideas, how to move your agenda while also taking into consideration the perspectives and needs and demands of other delegations, other countries. And those experiences are just, right, beyond compare, especially for high school students. Learning how to negotiate, learning how to collaborate, and sometimes working with people that maybe can be difficult, right? Or learning how to build a block where you can include a lot of people representing different perspectives, right? And listening, right? The listening skills, that's key. If you are a good listener, you're going to be a good communicator. Leadership, right? SIMUN is all about leadership, and that's part of the program. That when you start as a freshman, right, you're developing some of these skills, having the experiences, building relationships, and then, right, you start to take on leadership roles. You might serve as a chair in a committee for the big conference that we host, SIMUN, every November, which is a great legacy, right? Our conference is considered the premier high school conference in the country, that other conferences have imitated how we have organized and run our conferences. So I'm really, really proud of that legacy. And I'm really proud that our SIMUN students each year that then take on the roles of the secretariat and the chairs and the crisis directors, that they feel so proud, right, that they're part of this history. You know, we have coming up SIMUN 24 in November of 2025. We just completed last November our biggest and best SIMUN ever, SIMUN 23, with some exceptional student leaders, Sasha Eckler, Lucas Beltz, Hannah Kopek, Evan Mehta, Sasha Rain, Connor Mangone, and the whole team, right, that served as chairs and helped to organize and run and get everybody excited. And we also did philanthropy to raise money for breast cancer. So this is a legacy, right, where students are involved, students are taking ownership and doing something that's meaningful to so many young people in our communities. And also the broadening of horizons, right? Over the years, we've gone to conferences all around the country. We've also traveled internationally, which has been just a joy for me to go to places I've always wanted to go, and to go with students, right? To see these places like Russia and China and Japan and Germany and France and Ireland through the eyes of teenagers, right? It's very energizing and just amazing memories that, you know, I cherish all the time and will cherish forever. Other rewarding experiences besides like these exciting travel experiences and working with students pretty much every day, right? Really building those relationships, right? That's the most rewarding part, both of SIMUN and for me as the SIMUN director, is the building of relationships. That's what life is all about, right? And serving one another. Also rewarding has been the faith component that has been instituted over the past few years, as we've had the great good fortune to have Father Patrick McGee join us as our SIMUN chaplain and chaperone extraordinaire, doing the traditional now it's tradition, right? It's been about 5 years of midnight masses, where at the end of the day, after a long day of committee sessions, we come together, share in our faith, share our thoughts, our feelings, our gratitude, our prayers for other people, our hopes, all of that, and bringing it back to what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? For the greater glory of God, right? In the Ignatian spirit. So wonderful. Other great experiences, I would be remiss if I didn't say it's super exciting to win the big conferences. When we won in 2022, for the first time, the North American Invitational Model United Nations Conference, hosted by Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. It's kind of the nationals of Model UN, bringing together about 3,500 delegates from around the country and around the world, from 170 plus schools this past year. We won it for the first time in 2022 with an exceptional group of student leaders: Adam Akan, Natalie Bruckert, Kayla Bruckert, Annabelle Graham, John Coyner, Daniel Jurgel. I'm sure there's so many others, but just exceptional people who put their minds to it, that they wanted to work together as a team, right? The team. And that's when the team culture really took off, that what work and preparation and effort that students put in, they weren't doing it for themselves to win an individual award. They were doing it for our SIMUN team, right? For us to win together. That was a joyous moment. Definitely some tears of joy shed. I even did a cartwheel in celebration of that victory. And then this past year, wow, who could have thought that it could get any better? And these wonderful SIMUN students this year, knowing that it was my 25th anniversary, made it a goal to be undefeated. It really makes me cry, because it's just really special and very emotional to win all the conferences and to do it for me and for the team. And each conference meant so much, that they put their heart and souls in it, because they cared so much, and cared about me, and that has been so fulfilling. And when they called, right, St. Ignatius College Prep at the NAMA conference this year, wow, the joy, just the ultimate joy. And then at our last conference at Boston College, Eagle Monk Conference, which was our last one, and we had one more to win, and it was super close. This was a conference we did not bring any seniors to. Right, this is a chance for the juniors to be the leaders and to bring in some freshmen and sophomores to learn the ropes and to give their best effort. And they did it, right? They did it. And there were lots of tears of joy shed at that point as well. So what a wonderful career this has been, because of the amazing young people that I've gotten to work with, and with Father McGee and so many of the wonderful chaperones over the years. It's just been spectacular. And so last question is, based on my 25 years of experience with SIMUN, what advice would I give to anyone who might be inspired to start their own Model UN team? This question actually is very personal, because this has been also a wonderful year, because my son Peter Haleas, he started teaching English at Cristo Rey Jesuit High School here in Chicago, and he decided he would try to start a Model United Nations team at Cristo Rey. Peter had been a part of SIMUN on the exec board, won a few gavels himself, and so he thought, wow, wouldn't he love to bring this great experience to his students? And so their very first conference was attending our SIMUN conference. And it's just been really special for me to watch Peter inspire a new group of students to build these relationships, to have confidence in their abilities, and to have experiences of discussing issues with their peers and really being determined to try to find solutions. So if I had to give advice for starting a team, wrote a couple of things down. You just have to tell kids it doesn't matter where you start, right? You have to start at the beginning, wherever you are. Every student can become successful and have a great experience if they engage, right? And you can be yourself. There's not a cookie cutter role model for what a Model United Nations delegate should look like. And that's another reason I really enjoy this, is that it's not one type of student. Students with all varying interests, different skill levels, different strengths, enjoy Model United Nations, and they get a chance to find out more about themselves and realize that there's so much that they can do, right? And really enjoy it and build on their horizons. And so part of the legacy that I'm especially proud of has to do with graduates who go on to study international relations, political science, communication, any number of subject areas, law, medicine, business, that they're using these skills, right? And they're doing it for good reasons, right? To want to make a difference in the world, right? And to understand what it means to be an Ignatian global citizen, right? Not someone who just contributes to the world, but does it, right, because we want to be men and women for and with others. And I think that's something that has been at the core of the SIMUN team since the beginning, and I pray that that will be its legacy long after I'm no longer the director. But don't fear, I've got a lot of great, energetic, exciting years left. This has been a joy and love of my life, and I will always be forever grateful to St. Ignatius, to our president, John Chandler, to all of the administrators, all the parents who have been so supportive over these years, right? It takes a village, as they say. I get to have the joy of being the director and working with the students directly, but there's so many people behind the scenes that make it all possible. So I want to most of all express my gratitude to everyone who has touched my life through SIMUN. I love you all. Thank you.